right, good afternoon, everyone. If you can tell from the background, I'm in my DC office today. So I'm either at my home office in Baton Rouge or up in DC. I hope everyone's having a great summer. The webinar today is how to use NetDocs on a Mac. And I am doing this on my MacBook Pro. So we're actually logged into a Mac. I feel like sometimes when people try to demo NetDocs on a Mac, they do a Windows computer, which really doesn't make a lot of sense. Just a quick little housekeeping here. This is the webinar we are on today. All webinars are recorded and sent to you. So even if you can't make a webinar, sign up for it if you're interested. Webinar next week or 2 weeks is going to be Titan File. This is a paid add-on webinar. So Titan File is a product that integrates with NetDocs for large file sharing. I think it's a great product. It is the last of the paid webinars that we're doing. We only do about 3 of those a year. What I mean by paid is it's a product you would have to buy. So it's not included in your NetDocs subscription. Everything else is just NetDocs, NetDocs, NetDocs. So office hours, we've got some of those in the summer. Set Builder training. So how to actually use Set Builder, office hours, collab space training, and then just some general technology webinars about the state of technology. The webinar today is how to use NetDocs on a Mac, okay? And the one thing that I just want to come over, and I'll have to update this, but this was always the generic page that I created that everyone used really on how to use NetDocs. ND Office is a Windows product. So if you have NetDocs on a Windows computer, then you're using ND Office. ND Click is what we use on the Mac, and that's probably a little hard to see, especially here, but it's this little click. Oh, and let me just do this while we're here. If you can hear me and see my screen, can you someone raise your hand via Zoom, just so I know that I'm not, all right, thank you so much. Don't raise your hand in real life because I can't see you. I usually do these on a Windows computer, so I always get a little concerned when I'm doing it on the Mac. I want to make sure you can see me. So there's 2 scenarios that I run into. Either you're an all Mac shop, that's pretty easy, or you are Windows at the office, Mac at home. NetDocs on a Mac just gets better and better and better every year, and they develop actual products for your Mac to work. So if you're using NetDocs on a Mac, you want to install ND Click and instead of ND Office. There is no ND Office on a Mac, and there is a video of me going in and installing ND Click. It is fairly straightforward. You will need your Mac's password. You will also need to know your NetDocs. This is a little square thing that installs. This little circle with the checkbox. Now, there's another product, but you may or may not own it, and it's really not essential anymore. It's called ND Sync. So that's an add-on product. It's like a Dropbox or Google Drive for NetDocs. It allows you to take a workspace in NetDocs and synchronize it locally on your computer. You don't really need that because you can pretty much do everything on your Mac that you can on the Windows computer now. I know some people like using ND Sync. When you have ND Sync installed, if we come over here to Finder, what it does is put this little ND Sync here, and I see all my cabinets, and then I kind of see the workspaces. This is all installed locally on my computer. A great scenario. I'm about to get on an airplane tomorrow. I'll have my Mac opened. I'll go into ND Sync if I don't have if the airplane doesn't have Wi-Fi. Honestly, if the airplane has Wi-Fi, I'll connect to it and just work normally. That's the nice thing about using NetDocs. Configure mission control. The only thing I do here with mission control is I have it prevent from switching. When something opens or closes in NetDocs, I don't want it to keep switching windows. So that's the only thing there. And then we go over, and we're going to do this in the training today, open up an existing document, create a new document, version a document. And the one thing that I do not have updated yet, but I have it installed on the computer, is the new ND Mail, which basically allows us to deal with attachments and all sorts of stuff like that. So I'll fumble my way through that as well. But let's get started. So I am in NetDocs right now. First thing that I want to do is create a brand new document and save it into NetDocs. The steps are the exact same on a Windows and Mac. I mean, the exact steps, the number of steps are the same. The order is different. So in NetDocs, I've logged in. I am in Google Chrome. I recommend Safari or Google Chrome on a Mac. Firefox didn't work on a Mac. I don't know if that's changed at all. So Safari or Google Chrome. I'm going to click add here. Let's come over to blank document. All right. Document name is going to be letter to Craig Bayer. What format? Okay. So what NetDocs is doing here is detecting what is installed on your Mac to give you these options. So I do have Pages. I've got Excel, PowerPoint, and I have a Word here. I want to create a Word document. We also, and I'm doing this more and more now, is I'm just kind of foregoing, and I know a lot of people in legal can't do this, but like a lot of times, especially in Excel, I just use Excel Online now. I don't really care. If it's installed on my computer, I'll open up a document in Excel Online. But for this instance, let's do a Word document. We're going to call it letter to Craig Bayer. We want to have it in the client's cabinet, so we get to choose. Now we're going to hit OK. We're going to profile the document. So I'm going to come over here and I am going to choose a client. I will choose a matter. And then I'm going to choose a doc type. Next thing I am going to do is hit continue. So we've created our document, and now our document is opening up, and there it is. That is how we created a document. Now, I'm just going to hit save, and I will close it, and that document is going to go back into NetDocuments. Again, that all happens because of this ND click right here. If you haven't installed ND click, then you won't be able to do that, okay? We need a conduit to talk with your Mac and NetDocs to make that all work. Let's come back over here. Here's our letter to Craig Bayer. I'm just going to hit refresh so that you can see this. All right, there's our letter to Craig Bayer that we just opened, and it's checked back in now. Now it's checked back out because I clicked on it. Again, works the exact same way there. So there is our letter to Craig Bayer. Now, we have the ability to do versioning, and there's really two ways of doing that. Okay, so we've got this document here. It is version 1. If we click on it, we see version 1. If I know I'm going to version a document, I will click on more, and let's come over to check out as new version. Okay, so I'm going to, and I do this actually on a Windows computer too, because I'm more likely to override the document. So check out as new version is going to create version 2. And then I'm going to put here clients changes, and I'm going to put here made changes client wanted. And now I'm going to hit OK. All right, so version 2 is created. This thing is downloaded onto my computer. Let's make some changes. And then we're going to save and close right here. So really, that's it. And quick recap on this whole process here. You want to create a brand new document, add right over here, the orange add blank document. We're going to give it a name. We will choose what type of file it's going to be. Then we profile it. Then you make the changes and put it back in NetDocs. Exact same steps as a Windows computer, just in the reverse order. And there is our letter to Craig Bayer. We can come over here and click on V2, and there's the name, description, and there are the comments right there. Now, didn't say this before. I need to follow my webinar script better. Anyone have any questions? And feel free to use the chat here. Just say, hi, everyone. If you have any questions about what we've done so far, let me know. All right, what we've gone over is creating a brand new document. We've also talked about here to create a version, more, and then we're going to come over to check out as new version. We'll open the document up and put and create a new version. So we're always doing versioning there. Just the other thing to do here, we have this letter to Craig Bayer, and we can use it in a different matter. I'm going to come over to move/copy, and then we can copy this letter to Craig Bayer, and we're going to copy it to a different matter. And then I can say open up when it's copied there. So, of course, that matter, by the way, I've kind of messed up. There it is. But so what's happened there is I have an ethical wall on that matter. So the minute I copy to that matter, Wayne Jarvis only has view rights to it, and that's why I'm not able to edit it. It's not an actual error with NetDocs. NetDocs is working the way it should be. All right, so add blank document to create brand new documents. Works just the way it should. If you want to do versioning, more, we will come over to check out as new version. If you have a document and you want to use it somewhere else, we will come over and use the move/copy functionality. Let's go over opening up a matter in NetDocs. We're going to go over with this matter here, massive dynamic. Now, to get to that matter, we're going to come over to the orange, go to a matter. You need to know your client's name. Since there's only one matter there, it automatically goes in here. We are in list view. List view is a list of every single document in a list organized by modified date. We can see that here. All of these headers are sortable. So if I want to look at this matter in alphabetical order, I just click on name over here, and then it sorts in alphabetical order. If I want to look at it by who created it, we click on created by, created date. All these columns are sortable. And if you come all the way over, if you don't like the columns or you don't understand why you have some and not the other, all the way over here, you see this little, where's my little drawing? There it is. You see this little gear here? That gear is going to allow you to come over and customize these columns, and you can also get to customize what order they're in as well. So here are the columns that I've chosen, and I can change the order by just doing a drag and drop to change that order there. Now, in list view, we have a filter button here. We're looking at everything. I can click on the filter and say, just show me documents, which is just going to show me all the documents here. Or I can click on that filter again and say, just show me email. And now I'm looking at all the emails. When I filter this out, I'm seeing the subject, who the email was sent by, what the email date was, and who the email is to. So I do like how that filter allows you to do that. And then again, all is all emails and all documents. We're in list view. Let's pop over to summary view by clicking on this button right here. We're seeing everything organized by the doc type filters. So I can go into correspondence, and if I want to open up, let's say, another letter to Craig Mayer, I will just click on it right here. That document will get checked out. We will need to make changes if there are any changes, save, and when we close this document, it will automatically go back into NetDocuments. So that's how it works. Now let's come up, because this is the Mac training, and we're going to go over an issue I run into all the time with the emails here. So I have this email saved into NetDocuments, okay? And we're just can check the box next to the email to get the details here. Come over, click on the panel here. So we're getting all the emails. This email is an EML file. If I click on the preview right here, we are getting a preview of the email, okay? And if we click on here, we can kind of come down and see. So we're getting previews. And there must be something wrong with my computer. Let's do a view in browser. View in browser pops this out and shows us everything. I might need to update my Chrome here to see this, but this is the preview here. My Chrome is having a, okay, so there we go. Finally working. So you get to see a preview of all the emails. That works with everything. Okay, so there's the email, there were the attachments, that's the preview. If we come over here and look at the details, this email is an EML file. Let's click on the email itself and see what happens. All right, so that email downloads right here into Mail, and then I have it opened. Okay, so I can see that email, and then I can forward, reply, and everything like this. This is where it gets interesting. Where do you want emails to show up? So let me come over here in the Mail to Preferences. Okay, default email reader is Outlook. So I would think that the email actually should show up over there. I need to go test that. I don't have it set to Mail. I have it set to Outlook. So the idea here is when I open up an email, it should open up an Outlook. I'm not sure why that's happening. What I usually end up doing on my Mac is have my Office 365 account set up with Outlook and set up with Mail if there are any issues like that. But usually it'll just open up an Outlook. Now, right here, let me click, and I'm just going to have this we have the preview opened, and as we go down, we are going down and we're seeing all of the emails. Let me see. What I'm looking for is an MSG file. Here's the easiest thing to do here. I know I'm fumbling around, but I want to show you the main. This is probably, if we do the top questions I get from Mac people, I'm always getting this question. In NetDocs, these three dots here open up the advanced search. And I'm going to come over to file extensions. I'm going to type in MSG and then enter. We're looking for any MSG files. So emails are either a .eml or a .msg. Here are the 300, and we'll check the box here, and we see the extension is MSG. Look what happens when I click on this. Okay, that is not a NetDocs error. Even though NetDocs comes up and says access denied, this is a question I get all the time. Macs don't have any ability to read a .msg file. So Outlook on a Mac is saving items via EML. Outlook on a Windows computer, if you're using ND Save, I think it's saving it as an MSG file. If you're using ND Mail, it's saving it as a .eml. So if you get into this scenario where you're like, what's going on here? Why can't I open this? The reason being is this MSG right here. So if the extension is MSG, you can preview it and you can get to it that way, but it's a limitation of the Mac. Now, there are some MSG files that you can buy, like readers on Macs. I've never really had a lot of use with them because it's not like you can open it up and do anything. So I just have not really had a lot of luck using that. Now, let's see here on the attendees. Let's go. Okay, question here. If you want to edit a letter, okay, let me go reshare the screen again. The next day, do you have to create a new version? You absolutely do not. So let's just share. And then let's come over here into NetDocs. We're going to open up this massive dynamic file here. You can, anything that we open up here, you can edit any type of file. So we'll switch this into list view. All right, I want to edit this document here. I am just going to click on the document name. Document is going to open up on my computer. All right, I'm going to come over, hit save, and I'm going to close it. This is going back in as version 1. It's warning me I forgot to hit save here. So this is going back in as version 1, okay? You don't have to do versioning. If you want to do versioning, that is the checkout as new version. All right, so we're in this matter here. Other thing that we can do in this matter, search-wise, I want to search for everything that has the word test in the name of just this matter. We will hit search. There's 11 items that have the word test in the name. If we come back up here, type in test, but we change it to everything, we are doing the text in file search. So by doing this, we're saying, hey, besides the name, look in the body of the document. So in this instance, we get 20 items and we've got emails there. Now the answer might be in the attachment. If there's attachment, we've got a WordPerfect file, we've got PDFs, we get everything there. If we come up to these 3 dots right here, we are opening up what is referred to as advanced search. This will let us search all of NetDocs. We get to choose which cabinet we want to be in. I'm in the client cabinet right now. And then I can search for every document that has the word memo in the name. Great thing about NetDocs is the search is usually very, very quick. So I've got 9 items that have the word memo in the name. We can come back to that search again. And if we come over to everything and type in memo, we are searching for everything that has memo, but it could be in the name or it could be in the body of the document. So everything is the text in file search and then the name. And I'm sorry, my Chrome is just a little weird and it just needs to be reinstalled here. So let's just try this again with the everything. The search here is working just like the searches on a Windows computer. So again, these all have memo in the name. These, if we come down here, have memo in the body, and we're seeing that text snippet of where it came from. If we come over here, just like on the Windows, we're getting a breakdown by client, by matter, by doc type, by file extension, by who created it, author, all that good information right there. So searching on the Mac works pretty much the same way it does on the Windows. And I mean, a lot of these tasks here that we're into right now are the same tasks that we would just do on a Windows computer. Let's go over email now. So I am in list view, recent documents. It's the last 40 documents I've worked on. I'm going to check the box next to this document right here. We're going to click on email copy. All right. Now, I don't want this to happen, okay? It's good that it is, so we can show you here. So what it's doing is using the internal NetDocs email service. All right. And this is only really good if you don't have an email program on your computer. Only nice thing about the internal service here is if we come over to history, it shows us we emailed the document today at 12, and it shows us who we emailed it to. So you actually, if you use Outlook, you actually don't get this data, because once it's passed to Outlook, we just know that the document was emailed. And on my Mac, if we just come down now to Outlook, there's the email that we just sent. Okay. Now, if I reply back to this email, it'll go back to Wayne Jarvis, which is nice. But I don't want to use that. I want to use Outlook. So in NetDocs, I'm going to come over to settings. We're going to come over to application settings. In this case, it's the third option. And we are going to turn on desktop email integration. And then I'm going to hit OK. Now, let's do this again. Email copy. I might have to log out and log back in. Nope, not what I'm going to do. All right. So we did email copy here. And you see here it's activating the email application. Notice Outlook is opened up, and there's the email. Now, I can do all three of these. We're checking them off. Email copy. 3 items are going to get downloaded. An Outlook window, because Outlook is my default email program, is going to open up, and then I can send the email to someone. Email copy is external. All right. Now, let's do the same thing again. Instead of clicking on email copy, let's click on email link. Email link is internal, okay? This person must work at your law firm. If you do email link to someone who doesn't work at your law firm, they're going to get brought to a NetDocs screen, and they're not going to be able to go any further than that because they don't have a NetDocs username or password. All right, so I could ask this question, but I know the answer. Has anyone ever tried to send a whole bunch of emails to someone and not been able to because they were too big? All right. I'm going to select. I don't want to select all those. Let's just do, I'm going to hold down my shift key. We'll select these here. More, deliver a secured link. This is the third way of sending email out. First option you have is to create a password. If you don't want there to be a password, don't put in a password. Okay, makes it pretty easy. If you want there to be a password, you have to put it in and then put it in again. Do that. By default, all these links will expire 1 month from today, but you definitely could change that if you wanted to. If you get rid of the expiration date, then there is no expiration date. We're going to click on send link through email. Most of you will just have to hit send. I have the original setup where I get to choose. Everyone we set up NetDocs now, we just force it into Outlook because that's what most people want. So we've selected all of these emails, okay? Now NetDocs is going through Outlook, and you see here's the emails. And then they can download all. Secured link external, anyone can use it. So the recap here in NetDocs, first off, make sure you come over to settings and turn this on. Now, if your default mail program is mail, it should still work. It should just put it in mail instead of Outlook. I just see most people are using Outlook. So that's what I talk about. Email copy external, email link internal, and then more, deliver a secured link external. Those are the three ways we can do that here. So there's a question here on how does one access or establish an account with NetDocs? I mean, I think your law firm should be giving you that information. So, I mean, really, and these trainings that we try to do are for people that are NetDocs users that are using NetDocs. All right, let's jump into Outlook now, okay? And we're going to come over to new email. We are going to create a new email. Now, this is the brand spanking new part, okay? And just, be nice to me if I fumble around a little bit. But over here in these three dots, I have NetDocs. Now, it doesn't say end email, it says NetDocs. So this is the new NetDocs app. I kind of feel like it came out a couple of months ago, and this really bridged some gaps here, okay? So we have a new email now, and I'm going to come over here, click on NetDocs. All right, this opens up NetDocs. All right, we're looking right now. We've got some options here, but before this came out, we had an issue where we could never really grab attachments and put them into emails. And now we can. So if I click on this right here, what do I want to attach this? So we'll hit attach. We've just added that document on here. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to hit link. And that is email link. That is internal. And I can click on this document, secure. That is secured link. So now you can do all of that. That was the biggest issue we always had with NetDocs, is that we could never get attachments out of there. And now we can get attachments out, okay? It is, like it does in Windows, looking at your most recent documents, the last 40 documents you worked on, favorites, anything that you've made a favorite. And if we come over to search here, we can search NetDocs for pretty much anything to come over here and add as the attachment. So the way that we do this again is we're going to come over to, let's start from the very beginning. All right, we're in NetDocs. We're going to create new email. I'm going to click on the three dots and I'm going to open up NetDocs. Now, if I click on the thumbtack here, this should keep it opened as we're going through. Let's see what happens when we do new email again. Yeah, it just automatically comes back up. And now we can add something here. Attached link secure. What does copy do? Oh, copy is the link to the actual document. That's cool. I didn't know what that did. So just to be honest there, first time I'm seeing that. I've used the other three here. All right, so I just want to come back over, and this part how do you have this? Because some of you are probably like, I don't have this in my NetDocs. If I come over to end email configuration, so a lot of you probably won't be able to get here, but you're going to get a copy of this video. You could send it to your IT people. This MS graph is what we started adding maybe about a year or 2 years ago to have this capability. And this is the way that we can link and do everything that we're talking about here. So if you just have outlook.office365.com modern, you're not going to be able to do this. You also have to have the MS graph. If we Optimal implemented your NetDocs, we've been adding it to every account for the past year, right when it came out, to be able to do that. So that's how we're able to do that. So let's come back here and creating a new email. We have NetDocs now where we can come in and we can go and choose documents and attach them. Let's talk about saving email. So I'm going to come over here to this email where we're going to click on our three dots here, click on NetDocs. Now I'm going to click on the thumbtack so I keep this opened. I don't care about these attachments now. So what we need to do is come down here and change this to email filing. So instead of attachments, these are our two kind of views here. Email filing here, so then we can come over and save this. And there's one thing I need to do now. Log out. Let's log back in. Make sure that I am on the right account here. So you will need a login one time to this. Also, most of you are using single sign-on, so you're going to click in Use Organizations Login and do that. Just hit allow. All right. So I want to save this email into NetDocuments. I'm going to come over here. Here's my cabinet. Here's a list of matters. I want to save it to this file. We'll hit File. That email is now saved to NetDocuments. We're going to come over here. We want to save this email. Now, we hope that it lists the email that we want. If it doesn't here, we're going to click on the search, type in something, and then it's going to search for all our matters for anything that has the word massive in it, which should be the massive dynamic. Great. Sorry, like I said, this computer isn't super up to date. Favorites here, anything that you've marked a favorite here, so we can just click there and hit File, save that email in as well. The right here, this view is what it's listing everything right here. Refresh will go through and resort all these again to find the predictions. Star will show you any favorites that you've made in NetDocs. That's why it's really important. We'll go over favorites towards the very end to do that. And search allows you to go through and search. Over here, three dots, let's go to settings. We're going to get conversation filing. I don't really use this a lot. It's basically, if you're back and forth in a thread, it's saving all the emails to the same place. And honestly, I don't really like that. I like to be very selective about what I save. The other option, though, we have here is manage folder mapping. Okay, and this will allow us, for example, I have linked massive dynamic pension lawsuit right here to that matter in NetDocs. So you get this capability as well, which I think is really good. We'll go over it with the training matter because this isn't linked. So I have this folder here in NetDocs. Let's come back to the inbox here. And we are going to do new mapping. So I want to map a folder. So I'm going to type in training. I'm going to choose the training matter, this Outlook folder called Optimal Training Matter. where do I want this to go? And then I would choose, actually, I probably don't have a training matter set up. We'll just link it to this one right here, this matter here. Select. So what I'm doing now, and again, this didn't exist until this actually came out. So I can create a folder in Outlook, and then I can map it to a location in NetDocs. So then anytime I'm in my inbox and I move something to this folder right here, it automatically gets saved into NetDocs. So that's one of the options. Let's do this save here. Tab. Also, if you noticed here, there was an option to copy all pre-existing emails, which I would check as well. So let's come over into our settings here. We can turn on conversation filing, manage folder mapping, manage delegates. This is if you have multiple inboxes in your Outlook. So maybe you have your attorneys and then yours, you can choose. Basically, it makes it so that you can save both of those and how it shows up there. So we really have the ability now to save emails into NetDocs. We have the ability to add attachments now, which we never had before. If we come up here, we have, this is really our big weakness now, is saving this attachment as its own document here. So right now on the email filing, I can file this email into NetDocuments. The email will be saved into NetDocs. The attachment will be saved into NetDocs, okay? But it will be saved embedded in the email. So how do I get, and let's just come over here. This email attachment into NetDocs, if I drag it and drop right here, I'm not getting the upload button, okay? So this is basically saving attachments is their own documents is the real weakness. Now the drag and drop will work for other stuff. Like that works fine. Okay, the add upload works fine. Let's just see if we can do add upload here. Yeah, so it's saving the attachments. This is where I talked about that program. ND Sync, if you have it, would come in because I could do save as. I could come over to ND Sync and then I could say, save it into the correspondence, and this would sync back up to NetDocs. So that would be saving this attachment. Now, I'll just let you know that I feel like next time we do this, this will be solved as well. But as of right now, that is the one limitation there in Outlook, is saving when you save the email, the attachments are embedded in there. But when you go and try to save the actual attachment as a document, there is an issue there. New email. We're typing an email to someone. Again, we can come over here and just here. We don't have that end email option showing up. So once you send an email, if you want to save it into NetDocs, you will come over to your sent items folder. And then we can come over to email filing and we can file any of these emails. So then that email is filed, is saved there. Now, let me come back to new email because we have a question in the chat here or in the Q&A. How do we get it to convert to a PDF for Outlook for Mac? So that is a Windows function. It really doesn't have anything to do with NetDocs. So if you're again, if you've used NetDocs on a Windows computer, when you add a Word document, say to an email as an attachment, there is the ability to convert that to a PDF. That's because Microsoft Office on Windows has that capability. I have to also guess, and maybe we can find one. There's got to be an add-in that does that. And maybe that's another thing that I will take a note of and look to see if we can find an add-in that will do that conversion. But the reason that feature is not here yet, it's more of that Windows has that capability built into Outlook, and NetDocs just took advantage of it. All right, last kind of thing, because this will really impact how you use the program here. So let's come back to look here. So the concept of favorites. So everything in NetDocs has a star by it, and I mean everything. So if you want to make these items favorites, you will just click on the star. Now we come over to the home page. You're seeing all those items. Documents recent. These are the last 40 documents you've worked on, broken down by the last 40 you've made changes to, the last 40 you've opened, and the last 40 you've added. Matters recent. All right, so we've got all these matters. Now notice if I click the star next to these, and then we come back to the home page, we've added all those to favorite workspaces. And now I can come over here and drag them up here. So Craig's open cases. We'll just put these over here. Here are the open cases. Also, nice thing is if you click on them, it'll sort them in alphabetical order. I think it's really important, especially on a Mac, to use the favorites because then it makes the email saving really, really easy to do. And the same thing with documents. And then add upload will allow you to upload up to 40 documents at a time. Last thing I just kind of want to go over, and because I just feel like we're trending that way more and more, I have this employment agreement right here. I can right click on it, open in, and I can choose to open it in Word Online. So what I've talked to people and they're like, yeah, I've got a Mac at home, but I don't have Office installed on it. I'm like, okay, we'll just right click on it and open it in Word Online, which is great because then you can come over and make changes. And then when you close the document, those changes get checked back in. I mean, you can do that in Word. So Excel right here, right click. Oh, that's a CSV. Oh, it's a CSV file. All right. Budget right here. All right, it's an Excel file. Open in Microsoft Excel Online. We can do that with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, which I find is really, really useful. And then you can come over here. Crazy thing about Excel Online is when you're done, you just close the document and it goes back in there. Other functionality here, right click, open in, Word Online as a new version, and Microsoft Word is Word locally on your computer. All right, so hopefully that was useful. That is how I use NetDocs on a Mac. Realistically, the only thing that I feel like there is a little limitation is getting those attachments from email saved into NetDocs. Right now, I just save them to my desktop and then so drag them to my desktop, add, upload, and I would just upload them into NetDocs using the move capability. So that is going to be an extra step there, but then you would choose them and it will delete them from your desktop. So if I had a group of emails, we'll save them to my desktop, and then I can immediately drag them or use this upload right here. So it's adding one extra step. Pretty much everything else works with a couple of those things like the convert to PDF. Any other questions at all? All right. I appreciate everyone's time today. If you think of something, let me know. I'll update realistically the couple of things here, but just I'm going to update every time when I do this webinar every year, I update all the Mac articles just to keep them fresh with everything else. So I hope everyone has a good day and a good start to your summer.